It's all new now.
Okay, so welcome to another episode of Manchester SEO Podcast. And today we've got McEllin from Lily's Love. He's come to talk to us about owning a business. Welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me.
No problem. I'm very nervous. You've not done anything like this before, have you?
No, it's my very first podcast, and I'm very flattered to be asked.
We'll go easy on you.
Oh, good.
Good. So tell us about Lily's Love.
So I make memory bears and other keepsakes from cherished clothing. A lot of my orders come from bereaved families. They give me an item of clothing or an outfit that their loved one wore, and I make them either a bear or a cushion, or sometimes it can be a few bears and a few cushions that offers them comfort in some way. You know, it's something that they can pick up and hold, or they can have on display. So I've been doing it for 11 years now.
Yeah. And we've got one of your amazing
Yes.
things here.
There's the mascot.
Yeah. Come to join us for the chat. So how did you get into doing that?
So, it's a long story. We could go back to the beginning if you want.
Yeah, let's go back.
I've always, since I left school, I learned to sew in factories that when clothing was actually manufactured here still, which it isn't now, but there were still a few of those then. I did ladies' wear for Next and Marks and Spencer's and Laura Ashley. And then a few years later, I got engaged to my husband now, Marek. And I decided I wanted to learn how to make wedding dresses.
Wow.
So I approached a local designer and asked her for a job, and she gave me one. And that's what I learned there. I learned how to make wedding dresses and bridesmaids and how to do fittings and appointments and everything. And I then went on to make my own wedding dress and the bridesmaids and the little page boy outfits and even my mum's outfit.
Yeah.
So that saved us a lot of money.
I bet it did. I mean, that's from my own experience of looking for wedding dresses, and obviously not mine, but there's an attention to detail with that, and a pressure because it's a certain date and it's got to be right. And
absolutely. Yeah. There is a lot of pressure. Because brides are sometimes a little bit uptight, so they change their minds about things, or they might lose weight, they might gain weight, and this is all on the lead up to the wedding. And it's a lovely environment to work in, but it's also quite stressful as well. But I did enjoy those days. It was nice. I learnt loads of skills there, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I then went on a few years later to set up my own little bridal business, but it was making a bridal cover-up that I call a rapport.
Yeah.
You can still find those on the internet. I did that for about 5 or 6 years. And then in 2011, my mum sadly passed away after quite a long illness with cancer. And I'd seen on a website in America somebody who'd made this bear from clothing. Yeah. And it was something that I had in mind to do with my mum's clothes. We'd kept a bag of her clothes after my dad asked us to sort out my mum's wardrobe. It was actually quite soon after she passed away.
Sure.
We found it really emotional to go through all the clothes. And I kept a bag of clothes and had this thing in mind. And I think it was around 18 months later, I decided to actually make this thing. And that was my first bear, Lily Bear, that took me like 3 days to make. And my husband was looking and the kids are like, what are you doing? What are you doing with those clothes? What are you doing? Because I've not made anything like that before. No. They're stuffing the bear and everything. And I'm like, it's from Grand's clothes. Do you like it? Oh, yeah. But I've got boys, they just kind of dismissed it. Yeah. And it was in the early days of Facebook. And I put the post on that this is what I've made from my mum's clothes. And it it went ballistic. All my friends are all commenting, saying how amazing it was and what a great idea it was. And I was answering messages all afternoon. Actually, it was when it was when you could put a post on Facebook and people actually saw it.
Yeah.
So there was loads of interaction with that. And then an old school friend messaged me and asked me if I'd make a bear from her daughter's dress, who'd passed away. She was only a young girl, and she'd passed away, and she'd kept this outfit. And I said, "Are you sure you want to trust me with it? I've only made this one." So she said, "Oh yeah, I've kept it, and I absolutely love it." So that was my first bear that I made for someone else, Beth Bear. And then from then on, it just took off. It really took off. Yeah, I started making them for people that I knew. I set up a Facebook page, and I was inundated with orders. Yeah. So I was doing the two businesses at the time. I was doing Rapport and Lily's Love, and I found it difficult to do both. The sales were dropping off for my bridal business a little bit, and I decided then to park that one and carry on solely doing Lily's Love, because I was really enjoying the feedback that I got and the comfort that it gives to people and families. I received some lovely messages back from families, I still do, all the time, of how much the bears mean to them and how much comfort they offer. So that's why I've carried on doing it. So also my sister, who sews for a living, that's why I ended up doing it. I followed in her footsteps. She helps me as well with them. So we do them between us. I cut them out. I see the customers, I cut them out, I give them to my sister, she sews them at home, and I get them back from her, and I put them together, put the arms and legs on because they're separate. Because I'll show you. So they move, so they've got joints. So I do all that and put the face on them, hand embroider the mouth, and then it's ready to go to my customer. So, well,
it's clear that actually, those kind of things, you want them to last, don't you?
Yeah.
And you can clearly see the quality.
Yeah. They take a long time to make. There's a lot of work in them because each one, each part of the bear is all hand sewn as well, because you need the gap to put the stuffing in, and then it's supposed to be hand sewn. So there's machine sewing and hand sewing as well as the embroidery on the face as well. So there's a lot of work in them. But my customers appreciate the quality, and they always say how lovely they've turned out. And sometimes how surprised they'll say how surprised they are when they've given me a well-worn cardigan that the granddad wore, and I give them a brand new looking bear back. It just looks, wow, it's amazing what you've done with it. Because they're the best clothes really that I work with, ones that people will instantly remember when they see them on the bear. Like this one, for example, this was made for a granddad. And he was a big Man City fan, so they wanted, on the 3 bears, I had to put a Man City badge on. So, there's things like that, or sometimes it might be where they work, they might have the work logo on and things like that. So
you can really personalise it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it just, they can differ such a lot, really, the items that I use.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything you can't put on a bear?
I don't work with leather, and I don't work with very thick fur or anything like that. I can work with jumpers, I can work with t-shirts, shirts, dresses, trousers, most types of clothing really will work, as long as it's not too thick or too thin. Like chiffon's a bit too thin as well. So usually people will bring me a bag of clothes. There might be a couple of items in that I'll say that won't work that well, and then we'll use the rest.
So they bring a few selections.
Well, you can either bring the clothes to me for to discuss the design, and we go through it together. And like the person might say, the items, why they've chose certain items that they definitely want to use, and then they might bring some extras to kind of add to the design, like be a nice colour that they like or something. And then we'll go through the design together. People like that to kind of put a bit of input into how it's going to be designed. I can also do that with over email or on the phone as well. But I really enjoy meeting people face to face because I get to know all about the family member that the bear represents. And they bring me photographs and show me photographs or show me on the phone. And, you know, I love that personal aspect of it as well.
Yeah. It's amazing the stories of how people started the businesses and why. Or why I started thinking, it'd be nice to talk to people about it on a podcast because and it's usually that, you know, you either fell into it or you had a problem at school or something like that that you turned into a positive and you thought, I'll do business, or it could be a bereavement or family or combination of having children but still wanting to earn a living and be flexible.
That's another thing with me as well. Both businesses have allowed me to stay at home and do the school run, pick my two sons up from school. And that was always important to me, that, you know, I was able to turn up for assemblies and go on the odd school trip with them and things like that. And plus that, I had elderly parents while I was doing both businesses, so I was able to fit looking after them and appointments with those as well in between. So, it's, well, me accountant calls it a lifestyle business, you know, because it fits in with my lifestyle. And, I love it.
Has there ever been an occasion where you struggled to fit in and keep it a lifestyle business? It's going to be from now on, September up to Christmas. That's my very busy time of the year for Christmas presents. So I have to be very organised, obviously, because there is a deadline, like we were saying about the weddings earlier on. There's a deadline then for me to get these out for Christmas presents. So I don't do much in November and December apart from mate bears and cushions. Because the cushions are another thing as well. I've not really mentioned those. The cushions are another alternative that can be made from clothing. And they're also practical as well, because you can have them on your chair. You know, a lot of men like those, you know, can take them to work, have them on the chair at work and things like that. So, and it's a lower cost option as well, because there's not as much work in a cushion. I hadn't really thought of that really for like a Christmas present or something like that.
Because it's a unique thing as well. It's not just one that you've gone and bought from the shop that somebody might return then in New Year. You know, it's very personal. And I actually bought one, made one for a grandma to give to a granddaughter. That was a run. I don't think it actually was Christmas. I remember I got the the video from her just before Christmas, and it was her granddaughter actually opening the box. And it was so emotional to watch, because she opened the box and she takes the bear out. You know, it must be, maybe it was a birthday in autumn. And she takes the bear out and she's like, oh, that's nice. And she's looking at the grandma, and you could tell that she didn't really get what it was. And she said, read that on the foot. And there's like a little verse on the foot that kind of explains what it is. She's like, oh, that's Grandad's shirt. And the emotion, you know, it was so, you know, so emotional watching her. She gets the bear, she hugs it and everything. And that was a viral video. It went mad then on all the platforms that I'm on social media. I think it's over something like 2 or 3 million views. Everyone was like, oh my God, you know, I'm bursting into tears watching this, you know. But it was, you couldn't have set it up. It was raw emotion. And you could see how much the present meant to her, rather than, I don't know, just buying her something from the shop that had no meaning. No, it's really nice thing to do. I think we've all got things in my family from parents. So I've got my dad's mug and things like that. They're still using. That's it. It's all sentimental things, isn't it? That you don't like to get rid of. You know, it's a little memory.
Have a shirt in the cupboard that's not
Yeah,
seen
I was just
the
going
light
to
of day
say
for
that.
20 years.
Yeah, that's what people tend to do. In every family, there's something in cupboards that, you know, in wardrobes that they think, oh, I can't get rid of that because it holds so many memories, or it belonged to a family member, and this is the reason to do something with it, and then you can have this on display rather than having it tucked away gathering dust.
I'm sure you've got a lot more touching stories about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've met a lot of people over the years. But it's not all about sadness, because I make them from other things as well. I make them from baby clothes. So if you've had your baby, and obviously you know how fast they grow up, and you end up with these little tiny outfits that they've grown out of in no time. So you can give me a bag of those, and I'll make those into a bear as well.
That's a great idea.
But, you know, to keep, and you can have your baby's name on the foot. They are keepsakes, though. They're not toys, because they're handmade. I'm not allowed to sell them as toys, so I have to make my customers aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously adds to the cost and things like that. Have you So that was 2011, was it, when you started?
Yeah.
So since then to now, is there a lot more competition since COVID and things like that?
Actually, yes, because I was one of the first ones to do this, have this idea.
Yeah.
And since then, there's been more and more coming and having a go at making them, you know. And I mean, some are lovely, you know. I'm not saying I'm the best, you know. There's some really good bear makers out there,
of course,
but there's also some that are not so good as well. They'll be lower cost, you know. Fair enough if you only want to spend £20-30 on something, but it won't look like that, and it won't last. You know, it's not got the durability, and it'll probably be more like a floppy teddy rather than...
so it's got a bit of rigidity about it.
Yeah, that's it, because that sits there. It's not a floppy
so you could put it on your mantelpiece, couldn't you?
Yeah, people do. People have them on shelves in the houses, and they'll have them in the bedrooms, and they do. Yeah, some people, you know, like a lot of my customers will have like a little corner in the house, and they'll have like a candle and a photograph, and have the bear next to it. You know, with a little shrine kind of thing to their loved one. Right. So
amazing. Yes. If someone wanted to get in contact about doing something like this, but what would the process be?
So they can give me a ring, or email me, or message me through one of my social media pages. Then I would let them know if there's a waiting list. And usually, apart from now on till Christmas, there won't be a very long waiting list. It'll be about 3 or 4 weeks. So then when I'm ready for your clothes, I'll contact you, and you can either bring the clothes to me in Manchester, where I've got my front room is now my sewing room, and I've got Lily Bear, which is my mum's bear, sat on a shelf behind me, keeping an eye on me. So you can come to my sewing room, and we can go through the selection of clothing that you've got. I can find out all about your loved one, and you can help me design it, you know, because it's always nice to have a little bit of input into your own design. So that's one way of doing it. Obviously, then you'd come back and collect the bear when it's done. I usually send a photograph via WhatsApp to let you see the bear in advance. Because a lot of my customers will say, "Oh my God, I'm in tears now. I've seen it," and you know they'll be quite emotional. And I think by sending a photograph, they can have a look at the bear and
process it
on
a
their
bit.
own if they want to, and they don't have to do it in front of me. So so that's one way of doing it. The other way is by sending me the clothes in the post. So if you use a track service, that then you know that they'll make it. None have ever gone missing before now. You know, even though people say bad things about Royal Mail, they serve me well, and I always use special delivery to send the bears and cushions back again, so it's a good, you know, secure service. So you can fill a form in on my website, pay that way, and then you can put any details on the form that you want to include in the bear, or you can message me privately or give me a ring, and we can discuss the design of anything that you'd like on the bear. Recently, I've actually been doing video calls as well. So people have been showing me the clothes, right? And I'll say, oh yes, that that'll work better than that one would, and that's worked well as well. You forget really about the technology that you can use. I think I've been doing that, and actually when I've been designing bears as well, I've done it with a couple of customers that have been wanted specific things. I've done a video call with them, and because it's good to have my input and theirs put together.
The power of technology.
Yeah,
it can be used for good.
I know, it's quite hard to keep up with it though, isn't it?
It is.
It's a bit of a challenge with all the different, especially with social media now, I do try my best on there, but there's a lot to keep up with and a lot of learning to do.
It can be a challenge, can't it, especially if there's bigger businesses come in as competition and they've got resources and stuff like that.
And I don't tend to have that because my competitors are like me. Namely, they're only small businesses, because it's not a thing that can be mass produced.
No.
It's got it's an individual's clothes. You're not cutting them, because when I had my bridal business, it was all rolls of fabric. And you could cut a few in one go, whereas these are just all cut individually and made individually. So that's why it takes such a long time.
And obviously it helps having a background in making dresses and
yes, it does.
So the quality is good.
Absolutely, yes, because funnily enough, I've gone full circle now with bridal wear, because I now get finished finished wedding dresses, and cut them up and make them into bears.
It's the evolution of wedding dresses.
It is. And then I've still got to sew on lace and pearls and everything like that. So that my bridal knowledge comes into it when I'm finishing off the bears.
Skills.
And that's it. And obviously it's quite difficult fabric to handle as well, bridal wear. So the skills of learning how to handle satin and chiffon and silk, all that comes into when I'm making the bears from them as well.
And the quality.
So it is. And again, who has how many people just have the wedding dress up in the loft in a box? They've had it cleaned, it's the big star of the show on the day. It's a massive part of the wedding day, and then they have it cleaned, they put it in a box, and it's up there for forever. I mean, I did a wedding dress not long ago, and it was a mum's wedding dress, and that was from the 40s. Wow. And I love having jobs like that to do, and you're looking at them and you're seeing how much work went into them in those days, because there was a hell of a lot of hand sewing all on the insides and the seams, and for me it's interesting. It wouldn't be interesting to you, but it's interesting to me to see how manufacturing has evolved over the years. And they still look good as well. They'll come to me, I'm like, that's from the 40s, I can't believe it, and they still look like a lovely wedding dress. And then I'm like, cutting it up.
I'm sure there's differences in feelings about that. Even though you're doing it for the right thing, you're thinking, wow.
I know. I mean, in the early days I would have been more nervous about doing that, but now we've done thousands of it, so and the good thing with the wedding dress is you've got loads of fabric to work with. So because sometimes it will have marks on it from where it's been worn on the day, and you're kind of sorting out the clean areas.
The good bits. I didn't think of that. It's probably a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Which bit's got red wine on it?
I know, but usually they've had them cleaned years ago, so it's fine. But sometimes, going back to the memory bears, when it's like a bereavement bear, sometimes I'll get requests to include the paint splashes and include the holes. If the dad was a manual worker, or if it was recently I did one that he had his own fishing lake in France, and it was his fishing gear that he used to wear when he went fishing. And it sent me pictures of him, and he had like the cap on and all like kind of green and browns in his fishing gear. And the bear just looked like him, on this photograph, and it isn't. And they say that to me, that just looks like my granddad. It does, And, you know, clothes do hold such memories. And even like the people will say to me, well, you won't wash it, will you? Because I can smell the fabric conditioner my mum used to use and things like that. I mean, I don't wash them anyway unless it was really dirty, which people tend to wash them before they send them to me. But yeah, things like that, even smells and things like holiday outfits, you know, like they've had a really good holiday with mum and dad, you know, and the dad bought this shirt to wear on holiday and a white, big bright Hawaiian shirt, and they want to use that to remember when they went on that certain holiday. So people have good imaginations when it comes to choosing the clothes.
Yeah, or you just spark a memory.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So obviously you've had quite a bit of experience running a business.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for business owners?
I don't know if I'm the one to ask. With my businesses, I've always kept it small. It's just been me and my sister.
Yeah.
But I must be doing something right because I've managed to stay self-employed for how long? 17 years. I've been self-employed with both businesses.
Yeah.
So I have managed to keep them going, and I've managed to have work every week to do. Since I've started doing the bears, I've had work every week. You know, I've never had a week of doing nothing, which is great. I think a lot of it with me has been luck because I've just picked two businesses that have taken off very easily. Like with my first business, Rapport, that was in the early, I won't say early days of Google, but it was when, you know all about this, when you could get quite easily, you could go on the first page of Google if you sold quite a niche product, which I did. And I was on the #1 page, and it was just so easy to get business because I was selling something. Because at the time, the wedding dresses were all strapless dresses, and what I was making was covering up the top, your shoulders, So the first one I made, when we were talking about falling into a business, it happened with that as well, because I had a friend that had a little tattoo on her shoulder, and she didn't want to show it on her wedding day.
Amazing.
And I came up with this design, and she absolutely loved it. She looked gorgeous on her wedding day and loved it. And I had some of the fabric left and decided to make another one. And I put it on eBay and got loads of messages of people wanting to buy this one. So then I thought,
I'll message them all. What size
I'll get some more fabric and I'll make more. And I started selling it on eBay. And again, eBay was quite new. So it was easy to sell on there as well. And then I went on, it was called the New Entrepreneur Scholarship. It was a business course. It was like a 6-week long business course. And at the end of it, you got, you had to do like a Dragon's Den presentation.
Wow.
And you were awarded a grant to spend on your business.
Amazing.
It was fantastic. I've learnt so much on that course. It was so good. And then that grant then paid for my website. So I was able to sell through my website rather than eBay. So it was like I fell into it. And I fell into. But with both things, I've had the passion behind it as well, and I've just happened to be using
the skills.
That's it. And I mean, I think with me as well, I didn't, because I did it when my children were young. I didn't really have anything to lose. As in, I wasn't giving up a job, or I didn't have to work full time and do a business at the same time. I think it's a really good idea to do that while you've got young kids. If you do want to try and get something off the ground, that you could just take it slow with.
Sure.
You know, and then with me, it's like I was saying earlier, it fits around my family and school runs and everything. So.
So it worked well.
It did. And I've never been very ambitious. You know, I don't want to think, right, you know, I'm going to take on 10 employees and we'll all be sewing away in a sweatshop. I don't want to do it like that. It wouldn't work.
Right.
As long as I keep busy and I make a living. I mean, I'll never be rich because, like I know say, it's not mass produced. But I just really enjoy doing what I do. and I love the response that I get from the customers who are so grateful.
Brilliant.
Yes.
And so, again, for you, what's success for you?
Success for me.
You've probably already mentioned most of it.
I would. Yeah, I would like to just stay busy really, and the success for me is the feedback I get. The feedback, and I get so many returning customers as well.
Yeah.
Because some people build up a little collection at home, of them for different, they might have one from the child's school uniform, and they might have another one from the grandma's clothes. And people do tend to come back to me, and I get so many referrals as well, word of mouth referrals all the time. And I think that speaks volumes really. When someone, I've seen a bear that you made, I really love it. Could you make one for me?
Sure.
And I'm happy. I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've got another 10 years left before I retire, so I'd be quite happy making bears for another 10 years and making, giving families a bit of comfort. That'll do for me.
And of course, your website's lilieslove.co.uk.
That's right. Yes.
So you can see all the range of stuff.
They're all on there. So there's you can either buy through. There's a shop on there, so you can buy like you would if you were just adding things to your basket. So you can choose which size bear you want, because there's two different sizes, and then you can put extras on like embroidery, or if you wanted one to have a scarf and things like that. And you can add those on, just add them to the basket and then pay at the checkout. Or you can message me and I'll send you an order form. And you can do it that way. That's like the old way. People have done it for years, but my shop's quite new. I've only had that implemented this year. So just depends how you want to do it.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. If anyone is, thought anything of it, I can definitely recommend you guys to them. And I really need to finish these podcasts a bit better than I do. But it's been lovely, absolute natural, and it's been great finding more about your business.
Thank you for making me feel so relaxed. You've got a very calming way with you.
I just laid back.
yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So,
thank you very much.
Right.
Well, that went fast, didn't it?
It does go really quick.